excited when we can have these sessions where we at least give a try to help a company. And Sohair has been working with Juanma and the team, and I've seen the input already is amazing. So I'm very much looking forward. When we started this initiative, one of the main goals was to do sessions like this, so where 18, 30 brains can bring some ideas and suggestions for to help a business and help other people. So I'm very happy. I'm going to give the leadership today to Juanma and his team. So you'll do the introductions. You let Sohair maybe explain a bit about himself, and then let's get started.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonio, and thank you everyone for being here. Especially thank you to Sohair, that has been working with us for some weeks to make this as enjoyable and as fruitful as possible. So I hope we all can learn and teach, and we have a really nice session. We will be a bit tight in schedule, so just expect from me to be a bit strict when dealing with timing. So it's nothing personal. It's just if we want to get the right results, we have to be very, very careful with the timing. Okay, so I will begin with a short introduction, and then I will give the voice to Sohair to explain how AASA Consulting is doing, and then it will be your time to face the challenges that Sohair is proposing and finding or trying to propose some responses. So I will share my screen, and we can begin.
Maybe Juanma, just to say also, this is a first session of a second session next week to follow up and look more towards the future, right? You're going to say that.
That's true. That's true. This is something that's completely true, Antonio. As for now, I will just introduce the timetable. Here you have is very, very tight, so we can be really effective using time, and we will spend some minutes explaining the introductory part, and then Sohair will explain AASA. Then you will have some time to discuss what Sohair has already presented, and you will be working for 30 minutes. And then there's a mistake there, because there's 30 minutes challenge and 30 minutes of presentation and debate. So that's my mistake. Sorry for that. So we begin with the introduction. Well, you all know this group, Global Initiatives for Positive Impact, that was launched by Antonio in order to help, especially those in need in this crisis, in this pandemic. Following that, in the team, in the new strategies and business model team, we focused on helping the businesses, the small businesses, going from survive to thrive. And that's why we developed a framework to go this way. And today we are in the survive stage, and we will reflect with Sohair which we consider the best options. And next week, as Antonio said, we will deal with the future. And it's really good that Oleg is here, because he's an expert on vision in future, and he's launching his book in some weeks, as I read. So it's a real pleasure to have him in, and especially if he can join next week, it will be a real pleasure. Before that, I would like to thank all the people that have been working to make this happen, and this is the team. I mean, I'm just the face that is presenting that these people, Manuel, Terry, Yolanda, Rafael, Jovita, and Juan Carlos, have been doing a real hard work during the last 3 weeks to present what we are now presenting and to prepare everything. So my thanks to them, because without a team like this, we cannot do that. Second, what we are doing today. Well, we want to have real impact, so we need to help real companies. And these companies, in this case, AASA, is facing a challenging situation. So we are trying to help to really give some measures to the situation. How? Using your intelligence. You have intelligence, you have your experience, your background, and you are putting all together in order to, well, unblock some ideas that could be there, but we haven't found, and well, to propose SOER anything that you consider useful. We will focus on the short term, and we expect to focus on the long term next week. Okay, but they are independent sessions. As explained, today we are here. We are doing an analysis in the short term, and next week we will be here in the long term, in the vision. Now, well, here you have the base for the presentation and the dynamics, which is the business model canvas. I think you already have this. Antonio has shared during LinkedIn, through LinkedIn, sorry. So I won't discuss about this too much. Just to explain that the business model is how the organization creates, develops, and captures value, and the business model canvas is a tool for evaluating and innovating in these business models. So that's why we use this, because it's a well-known tool and it's very easy to use. Okay, so we will jump very fast. This is divided into 9 blocks. The blocks on the right are related to the market. The blocks on the left are related to internal aspects of the company, how to produce that what you have to give to the market. You have the customer segments, who are we creating value for, what we are selling, which is the value proposition, which is a dimension in the middle, the channels, how we sell that, the customer relationships, the revenue streams, the key resources, what we need to in order to produce what we want to produce. Sorry, because at the same time I'm letting people in, and sometimes it's a bit tricky. Key activities, what we need to do to produce our value proposal, the key partnerships to help us, and finally the cost structure. This is the overall model. It's quite well known. In any case, there will be people in the groups that are knowledgeable about this. So those that are not so aware of this, no, don't worry, that it's really easy to use. And we have this as the model that should be something like that when we finish. So once we introduce the model, we begin with the presentation from SOER and from AASA. AASA Consulting is a Pakistani consultancy firm, which, well, I'm proud to announce that they have just been 25 years old this year. They were founded in 1995. And we will check now. I will give a bit of the context before Mr. Soher Ashir, who is the chief executive of AASA, will explain afterwards. So first, country is Pakistan. They have 11 employees. As I said, 1995, formally settled. They are focused on management and consultancy. 2 main clients: public sector, government, social policy, so services linked to government or international multilateral institutions, World Bank, dealing with health, education, and poverty alleviation. That's one of the business, which is, let's say, 60%, and private sector, which is focused on human resources, strategy, recruiting, organizational development. Those are the main services, the core business of AASA. What has been in the last months, the main facts, well, the tenders that are the main the main source of business for MASA have reduced their ratio, the award of getting tenders from 30% to 5%. And the government focused on fighting against the COVID. So most of the money went out of the normal contracts and went against the COVID. The private sector is a brand conscious market, and they are also really weak because in Pakistan from 2018 there's a tough economic situation. There's a downturn that is tough, and the demand has been reduced. Also, the organization in 25 years, as Soer states, the tech capabilities are not as good as he would like to have. So those are the main constraints. Then we have some main aspects. I've already mentioned some of them. They've been able to reduce some of the costs. The problem has been mainly that they reduce highly the revenues, so the cost perspective is not that relevant, although they have been able to reduce a bit, but the main problem is a revenue problem. And well, marketing issues, business development is tough because of the kind of sector and the kind of product that they sell. So now I introduce Soer that will explain you the company through the business model canvas, and he will well deepen in some of these aspects. So please, Soher, go on. I will deal with the presentation as you talk. So anything you need, just let me know. Soher. Hello, hello.
He's frozen. We're going to wait for him.
Thank you, Juan. Take you through the.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Juan. I will take you briefly through the business model canvas.
Yes, please.
Maybe he can log out and log in without camera. Sorry.
Well, maybe it's possible also to turn off everything on his computer.
Business with client.
Yes, Soer, do you hear us?
Hello, can you all? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, with some problems, but let's let's see. But just talk, and if it's not clear, just switch off the camera to save some bandwidth. So, but just go on. Let's try.
Okay. I was explaining who are our so that we can increase our chance of getting business. And then when we get a project, we also hire specialists from the market. So they are also our partners. These are subject matter specialists. As you know, we provide management consulting services, and we need wide range of management experts, which we cannot have them as a full-time employee, so we hire them on a contract-to-contract basis. In terms of our key services, there are two major areas that we focus on. One is what we call our HR and OD services, under which we provide recruitment and organizational development and some management training services. But the big part of our practice or key activity is what we call social policy, which is working with the government here and international funding agencies such as the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, USAID, so on and so forth. And within social policy, our focus is providing data collection, research, and monitoring services in areas of education, health, protection. In terms of our key resources, we have a staff of about 13 full-time employees, and most of these are professional level people. These are people who are either background in economics or management. And then for large projects, on a project-to-project basis, we hire people from the market. So these will be senior resources that we hire on a project-to-project basis. And in terms of providing recruitment services, so that is either for the CEO level positions, or what we call one-down positions, people who are reporting to the CEO, director level or senior manager level. And for this, we use a database, we use LinkedIn, we have our own database to source candidates. So those are some of our key resources. So what is the value proposition that we offer the market? We are a niche player in what we call social policy, which is in the social policy sector, which is education, health, and poverty. We are able to provide data collection, research, and impact assessment for various organizations. And this is a service which is largely directed at the public sector, what we call public sector consulting. For the private sector, our main service is HR and strategy work. Under HR, as I explained, we do recruitment, we do organizational development, we do some management training, and we also provide some services in strategy, which is helping companies formulate their strategy. So the overall services are quite high-end, and the resources that are required are kind of expensive. We have a core team within the company which are full-time employees, but beyond that, we engage people on a project-to-project basis.
Okay.
In terms of customer relation work, which is about 7% of our work, these are what we call tendered jobs. The government or the funding agency will execute. So we try to meet people in the government. We try to meet funding agencies, do my own network or clients we have, and it's a very network-based environment here. So if we have a network for the private sector clients, we use our network to market.
No.
We do use, and also using various channels to reach out to the to our market. I explained the two major segments are public sector, about 7%, and the private sector, about 20 to 30% of our business. So that is where we are in terms of the cost structure. Naturally, we have the staff cost, which is our staff of about full-time staff of about 13 people. Then we have a company overheads. The kind of business we are, it is overheads are quite high because the kind of clients that come in, we have to maintain a very professional offices and infrastructure. And as Juan explained in his background, that the last 2 years have been very bad economy-wise in the country. Then because of the COVID, the situation became even worse and it was difficult to get work. And in order to sustain ourselves, we reached out and took some loans, commercial loans, which we are now in the process of repaying. So that is a liability, a significant liability on the company. And then our outsourcing costs. Our outsourcing cost is very high when I engage other people to do work. Given the kind of work we do, on an average contract, 60% of the revenue we get can go out in outsourcing costs, and about 20% in taxes. So our margin are between 10 to 20%, whereas in this kind of business, normally your margins range from 30 to 60%. In terms of the revenue streams, I've already explained that large part of our revenues come from the public sector, about 70%, and from the private sector. As I said recently, because of the downturn in economy, our revenues in the private sector have really hit a very low end, and we have very little business that is coming into the private sector, and also our ability to market right now is limited. And I am in the process of engaging someone to come in and join the business and market for us. If I were to hire him, it will be very expensive. I'm hoping that somebody will join us by taking a share of the business. So our revenues are under a great deal of pressure right now. So that's just a quick overview of the canvas.
Okay, so you have the whole canvas here, and you will have this as a part of the document that you will use afterwards in the groups. So thank you very much, Soer. Maybe you can very fast have make the wrap up and what has happened and what have you done. Which
so
you already said, but just
yeah. So I've already said that the revenues are under pressure. Yeah. So we are under pressure on revenues because of the downturn. Even worse, the government had suspended contracting because they had diverted all the resources to deal with the COVID-19 crisis, and the donors had already also diverted their funding to the government to fight COVID-19. Those things are now opening up. So our cash flow needs are suffering because of the lower revenues. And I am normally I could plan 3-6 months. Now I plan on a cash flow on a month-to-month basis. Technology is something that most of our work is still done because it's intellectual capital. It is done in, I think that is one area where we can go shift to technology to bring more efficiency. And I'm looking for ideas on what technology is a problem. on revenue, cash flow needs, and we.
If you want, I can take this just to.
So one can, yeah.
To wrap up. After this explanation about the needs they have, really because of the reduction in the revenues and the cash flow needs and the challenge in terms of technology, they've been exploring partnerships with international companies, or even adding people that can bring business. Also doing some things internally to minimize the cash flow needs from the cost perspective, and using loans and so on. So some things have been done. And in terms of technology, they are developing an app with a local partner to cope with one of the most the key areas, which is education. And they've begun to work with the closed services. So they've been already taking measures. They are a professional company that tries to make things better, but today what we have is the situation, so you can help AASA visualize other options in the short term. Okay, we are focused today in the short term, because as you can see here, the main impacts are dealing with the revenues. The main problem today is a revenue problem, okay? Basically because of the lack of tenders. And I will show you which are the challenges before you have a couple of minutes to ask. And the challenges that SOER is proposing is are two. The revenues, I mean, how to create new income streams, and the technology, how to transition from a not so technological company to a technology-based company. Those are the two challenges that he's asking to you to provide proposals to fulfill these challenges. You can focus in one, the other, or both of two. You will see how we will do that. But before that, although you will have in the work groups some time with SOER that will be switching from group to group. If you have any question right now, we have 3 minutes to have some questions to SOER in public, and then if not, if something is missing, you will ask in private in your group. But if there is any question now, please unmute and make the question about what SOER has been explaining about the business, about how it works. Is someone willing to ask something? Everything clear?
I have a question for SOER. This is Juan. Good morning for me, SOER, I guess.
Go on.
Just a quick question. Have you budgeted the cost of bringing the additional employees and the partner? How much of a burden will be on your budget if you were to bring that expensive partner for business development and the additional employee resources that you have mentioned that you need?
SOER, do you have an answer to Juan Carlos?
If I were to add in terms of at least 30% my cost, but I'm exploring an opportunity.
No, the sound is. Well, I think we will switch to the group work groups, because I think with all the cameras, although they are mostly disconnected, they are taking the bandwidth from SOER, and we will have some trouble. So we will directly jump to the working groups. I will explain you before what we will have to do, which is now this is the fun part. So your challenge.
You? Sorry, Juan, just before you continue, I do have some questions for But I'm just wondering, Monica did put in the chat that it might be a good idea for all of us just to turn off our videos to see if we can actually hear Zohair. Is there a possibility for all of us on the call just to turn off the video, keep the audio on, and then let us ask those questions, see if it makes a difference? Because I think some of the context is important. I mean, I'm looking at Zohair's website.
Meanwhile, make the questions, and as we have been working with Zohair for several weeks, just if we can answer, we will. And okay, so go on, Paula.
Okay, thank you, Juanma. So Zohair, I was looking on your website and I noticed that you do work in quite a lot of different types of sectors. As far as the sectors that you're focusing on right now, with the projects that you're working on that you must complete, for example, with the funds that you have, what sectors are those? And what regions are they in?
Okay, so our flagship project is a project which we have in the province that I am based in, which is the city is Karachi, but the province is called Sindh. And this is a project in which we are responsible for doing impact assessment of 100 schools, government-run schools, that have been handed over to private operators. And our task is to go and do a quarterly assessment if the private contractors are fulfilling the requirements of the contract under which they were given to them.
Okay, all right.
And
So
that now constitutes about 70 to 80% of my business, because that particular contract is a 5-year contract. So it gives us a project for 5 years.
okay, and you get funding from the government for it.
We get funding from the government for it, but
Okay.
the thing is that it's a high cost, it's a volume business rather than a margin business. But we see, because it's a 5-year contract, we can build on it, and then we can get other contracts around it.
Okay, apart from this particular contract, what other contracts must you fulfill within the scope of the funds that you have available to you?
So, you know, we get projects. For instance, we have got a project with Asian Development Bank. So we get projects which are anywhere from 6 months to 1 year.
Okay.
And so right now we have that project, and we are just finishing a project that we need to close with IFC, which is International Finance Corporation.
Yes.
And we have done a large study for them, which we are just closing.
Okay, and now the next question based on your answer. The Asian bank that you're working with, have you approached them for further financing of your of the projects that you're working in conjunction with them for?
Well, this is Asian Development Bank. What they do is they float projects. You can bid for it. If you win the contract, you get the project, but they will not fund you. I have reached out to a private bank, which has given me financing.
Okay.
And that financing has helped me get over the hump.
Okay.
But naturally, this is something that has to be repaid. So repayment is going to be a challenge.
Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to ask.
The last thing, please, Paula, because we have to go to the groups.
It's the last one. It has to do with the partners that are on his website. So I've noticed you have quite a lot of partners that you've worked with in the past, including USAID, you've worked with the Acumen Fund, you've worked with Citibank. Have you reached out to any of those former partners, and asked for a partnership based on the work that you're doing, considering that some of those organizations probably have education as one of their philanthropic goals?
Frankly, not. And I have, I think, highlighted that one of our weaknesses has been marketing in terms of business development and marketing. And this would fall under that. And that is something I'm hampered, because being the owner operator, I am also the chief marketeer, chief financial officer, and chief executive. So that's why I need to bring in a person who can focus on customer relationship and marketing and sales.
You could try that with university students and what do you call them?
Interns?
Internships. Yes, that's what I was trying to suggest.
Okay.
You might consider that. Anyway, I'll leave that. I'm done with what I had to find out before we go into the groups. Thank you so much, Sohar. Be happy to get further.
Thank you, Paula, for your questions. I really clarified in these aspects. So now it's time that you know your homework. So now you will be broken into small groups. In each of the groups will be a facilitator from the new strategies and business model team. So you will have your doubts solved in the group directly. Please, we are focusing in the short term, so just focus on things that could be achievable in 3 months. This is really relevant. And as you then, after the working groups, you will have to share your results, appoint one spokesperson per group, so you can explain that the work of the group afterwards, and be aware of the timing. Finally, the results we expect: 1 to 3 proposals, dealing with 1 or the 2 challenges. It's up to you. And you will have to explain the impact of the proposal on the canvas. That's it. If you decide to propose something, which aspects on the canvas will be affected? It's quite easy. I will show you now how to do that. You will have 5 minutes to present. If you do that in less, it's better, because we will have more time to debate. Every group will have 5 minutes. And you will receive in the chat a presentation through Google Doc that is editable presentation. So you can share your screen, work in the presentation, and have the final document prepared without many effort. Use the time wisely, and please work as you debate. Finally, this is what we expect from you. We expect these 3 proposals with a brief description of the proposal, and to include the impact of the canvas. And I will show an example right now. In any case, as you are very smart people and very imaginative, you may raise many proposals and some of them are not chosen. So do not throw them away. Just put them in if you have time, and just describe them. Yeah, we won't ask you to explain in the group, but we can share the document with SOER. So any idea that may be useful, even if not discussed here, it is okay. So those ideas that could go to the parking lot could be here. And you will need to put everything in this canvas that is in the document. So the example in this case, one proposal could be sell trips to Venus. And the description is, okay, we will build a rocket to fly to Venus. So what would be the impact of this? And these elements are some things needed to fulfill this proposal. What I need in terms of key partners, what I need in terms of key resources, key activities, whatever. So anything, of course, this is really strange and is really far from the business model. In your case, probably there will be a couple of comments, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But just to let you know that what we expect is that you show this slide and explain that, and this slide and explain. Okay, as you see, there are numbers in the proposal. So before writing in the post, you just have to put 1, 2, or 3, which is the proposal, so we can identify what this element is linked to what proposal. Everything is clear? You will have someone from us in your group, so if something is missing, just ask. And you will also have SOER switching from group to group, so also you can ask. So now I switch to the groups, and we will be back in 20 minutes.
Juanma, I cannot put my camera on, so because it's like fixed from.
No problem, Manuel. It's no
okay,
problem. I will do that after. I will first now break you into groups, and then
Manuel, te vas a emborrachar con tanto chupito de un lado a otro.
this is very tough to be from one place to the other, just trying to, and not only for me, also I guess from Soer, switching from group to group must be, well, something difficult to do, but I hope he also enjoyed this. We are all in. Let me check. I think so. So we are all back. So, well, yes, let's begin with the presentation. I've already given you permission to share the screens. So please, the first group was the groups from Manuel. Please share the results with the rest of the participants and surprise us. So please, first the proposal, and second the canvas.
Okay, just sharing the screen. Can you see that?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, so we have 4 value proposals.
You have 3 minutes, so yeah, be as fast as possible.
Maybe Oleg or Monica or Mohammed.
Oleg, come on, it's your turn.
Okay, right. Thank you. We came up with 4 key points. First one, what we notice, it's a lack of internal knowledge. It makes company to employ every time a new partner or a contractor or subcontractor or whatever, right? And it also shows that how overhead costs are high. That means the knowledge is quite fragmented. Therefore, they need to hire an app. For instance, when we talk about data analysis, it costs them 50 to 60%. That shouldn't cost them more than 30. It's the highest possible rate. But assumingly, we're talking about a very 1-digit figures. Therefore, thanks, Monica, for a brilliant suggestion on employing apps, which is simple. The second issue is a lack of engagement, internal engagement. It seems to me people in the company are very good, sitting comfortable, waiting for salaries to be paid, but not engaged much themselves. And they have difficulties understanding at the same time who they are, what they do, because they're jumping like rabbits from one field to another field. So it's a matter of engagement, because particularly for a consulting company, engagement should be at least 90%, right?
Oleg, 1 minute left, so please speed up, right. And because we have to.
Okay, and the third issue is a lack of focus. The company doing spread itself too thinly. In such conditions, in today's conditions, you must be really highly specialized to survive and be valuable. And the last thing is, we offered a crazy social media campaign, not we, Monica, right? But I fully supported, 200, supported, I love it, the idea, to get people aware that we are focused, we are together, we're engaged, and that's a difference we could make to public sector and to the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for keeping the time. Second group, Yolanda, please, could you share your screen? Very, very quick, please.
So really quick, we focused first on determining what Zahir's strengths are and their network, human resources, research, data collection, visionary, his experience, agility, an open mind, and a learner. And based on that, we came up with 3 amazing ideas. One is to build a technology platform called AASA for Work that would onboard working at home, how to manage the benefits, how to manage an end-to-end infrastructure for human resources within a company. And we would build a technology platform that we could sell. It would be like a box, you know, here you go, here's how you do it, how you onboard people with COVID-19, policies and procedures, and the whole 9 yards. The other is sustainable energy, train and recruit network. How do we tap into those companies that are currently in Pakistan that are building sustainable energy and that need scientists, that need big data, that need technology people, that need data people, and how do we understand what those needs are, and we bring them coupled with the universities, and we train these people and we push them out, because again, human resources seems to be a huge competency coupled with the network. The third is to build consultant infrastructure for cloud, to provide cloud consulting to other companies, small and medium, not large, but go to small and medium and build those partnerships with AWS worldwide, MS Azure worldwide, and Salesforce worldwide. And once they offer free training, they upskill for free, become partners with them, and through them provide consulting services to upskill other small and medium companies. And those are our 3 proposals. And thank you so much for the team, to Rosina and Lourdes for joining me. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much to you, because of you have a great explanation in a very short time. So this is a very good ability. Juan Carlos, please, number 3.
If you could put me last, so I can connect through my computer and share the screen.
Okay, I will do that then. First, so let's go to Rafael and his group, group 3. Meanwhile, I will add you to the conversation. Rafael, can you share, please?
So we had an app. Sorry. Can you hear me? I hear some echo.
Yeah, I hear you.
We had some issues sharing the screen inside the group. I'm using my cell phone, but Tomas has a list of our suggestions.
Yeah, I can share it.
Okay. Well, in any case, I'm in your session. If you want me to share, I can do it. It's okay. Okay. Perfect. Go on, please.
Okay. So Rafael, I can do it if you want.
You can take the lead, Tomas.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
We did some brainstorming, came up with 5 ideas, and we then selected 2 of them to come on the shares list. So the first one is to see COVID-19 as a new revenue source. So focus on what maybe hospitals or governments, need to implement COVID-19 measures, and it's a new revenue source. So this was brought up by Annette. Annette, you want to add something?
Yes, but in fact, I think that is one of the opportunity to have an interesting contract with the government to help them with good solutions, studying reality actually in Pakistan, and maybe there is an opportunity of business on that domain.
Okay, thanks, Annette. And then we have from Andre the proposal. I gave it the headline, digitized documentation. So Andre suggested to come up with an app that he knows from Brazil, and to support cost reduction and maybe new revenue sources by implementing this app and offering it to the marketplace. Andre, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's similar to one of the proposals for the first group. It's an application to use to cloud-based to get information on site and reduce the cost to get those information, and also create a new kind of revenue, and because you can work in many areas with less people, so it's a good opportunity.
Good. Thank you, Andre. So we didn't manage to put it on the canvas, but it's very clear the canvas would be added with a at the revenue corner.
It is perfectly clear the impacts. So thank you very much, Thomas.
And thanks to the team.
I will share the screen. So here you can see the result from group 3. So you please, Juan Carlos, or the spokesperson from group 3, please.
Yes.
Explain.
So I'm gonna go ahead and send it to you after the fact because technology hasn't worked out for me today. But I'm just gonna speak to the 3.
Very short, Juan Carlos. Very short.
Sure. So number 1 is to training and development of the staff. So upskilling the staff. That will basically to utilize some of the low cost or free open source providers out there like EDX, Lynda, even LinkedIn to help the staff to gain the technical and technology skills that they're lacking. That way he can not only depend less on outsource contractors and increase his margin. Number 2 is to consider some of the free or low cost survey options that are already out there in the market that he can have access to. That way he doesn't have to put capital into a customized product that, and obviously by having some type of survey technology, it will help him to gain more of those RFPs that he has lost in the past because of the lack of a technology platform. The number 3 proposal is about something that was briefly mentioned before going to the groups, but is to develop former clients. So the one thing that where there's an opportunity for him to increase his revenue in the fastest way is to go back to those clients that he has done work in the past few years and warm up those relationships and see if there's an opportunity there for a low-hanging fruit. So some business that he can generate some fast revenue. So thanks to Paula, Barak, and Jab for their input.
I have one other suggestion, and this is something that just occurred to me. We are coming to Christmas and even International Development Week around the world, and that would be in January, Christmas being in the Christmas time being in December. I don't know how that plays out in Pakistan, but I know people buy gifts, and sometimes they like socially responsible gifts. Have you considered creating a marketplace on your website for sustainable gifts that are tied to your education goals? And then they would be used as not only mementos for the work that you're doing to your partners or their employees, but also as a way in which to promote your brand.
Oh, it's a nice proposal. Well, first, let me. We are close to the final. So before the debate, I will first like to thank to you all for being so interactive, even though we've have some technical issues, but the groups have been working perfectly. I have to say thank you to my colleagues that have helped in the different groups, and Soer, who has been completely open and willing to show everything, good and bad things, during this process. Now we have some minutes left to openly discuss whatever you want, to get your impact, your views, Soer, on the ideas that you received. We will refine some of these ideas to produce something to be shared next week, just as a wrap up, and also to be given to Soher. As let's say, as the visible face in this from the beginning, I'm really proud of what you have done. So thank you very much, because this is why we began this. This is why we follow Antonio to do this, and I hope that with the debate that we can extend some minutes more, we can even improve the takeaways that we already have. So first, I would like to hear Sohair's impression, because he's the star today. So I would like to listen to him, and following that, please feel free to make any kind of suggestion, any other nice proposal, like the latest one from Paula, whatever you think can be useful. So please, Sohair.
So thank you, Juan, and thank you everyone for taking the time out, and especially making me a star for a night. So I had all the attention, and I appreciate that. You know, I was quite assured to see some of the recommendations, and I think some of those have hit home. You know, sometimes things right underneath your nose you don't see. And when you hear it from an independent person outside, and you just wonder, why hadn't you thought about it? So I saw enough there to make me think that there are some ideas I can carry forward and perhaps put them into implementation, which will hopefully help us come out of the short-term problems we are facing. And I would look forward to getting the refined version, and maybe we can work on it. And I again thank everyone for their time and consideration.
Well, to be honest, sorry, Paula. To be honest, we've been working hard with Sohair during several weeks, and there were many things that appeared today that there wasn't in the menu. Well, but I mean, it's incredible how you together, or we together, are able to produce different things and give different alternatives. So that's the great thing here, that depending on the backgrounds and on how the work in the group has gone, it's incredible. It's something brilliant. So congratulations. Sorry, Paula, I stopped you.
No problem. I was just going to say, so here, after you engage some university interns in different sectors, like, I mean, if that's something you want to seriously look at, that would be a really good idea to do. But after you do that and you get some more manpower and people with really specific skills, really have a close look at what Yolanda's group suggested, because those partnerships with MS Azure and the other platforms can be very helpful, especially if you're doing projects that are then supported by UN goals. And I didn't really see them stated on your website, so I would say update your website to explicitly state which goals you're supporting, so that you can get more sort of UN backing. And that you might be able to tap into some UNESCO options, even for supporter resources. But that's how I would suggest you start tying things in. Get the manpower first, and then start pursuing active partnerships that might leverage what you need to do within your own country if the government isn't able to support you on that.
Thank you, Paula. I think that it really hit home. I think that's one of the things that I saw as well, and appreciate how that you tied in your amazing thoughts into what we were trying to. I think it really does cross. Thank you.
If I may, Sohair, just because I've had experience dealing with bringing partners into companies, and I know that your understanding right now is that you need that really expensive resource to come in and maybe take part ownership into the company. I will at least advise you to consider to obviously have a really clear understanding of what that person is bringing into the business. I'm sure you can do that very well, as you, part of your job is
is dealing with recruitment of C-level. But I will suggest, as far as how you bring that person, if you're gonna provide some equity, for that equity to be basically like a vesting schedule of some sort, where that person is not fully vested day one, but rather that as they bring new clients and revenue, their proportion of the company gets allocated. That way, you go by proof and not by promise. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. So we are 5 minutes over time. I wouldn't like to take you more time because I think it's very well generous from your part, dedicating half an hour to us. But we want to attach to time and be respectful with your time. I would like to invite you to the session next week. We'll be dealing not with the short term and how to overcome this, that Soher will do, but to help visualize the future of AASA, help look at the future, visualize, and see what kind of company can AASA become. So if you are willing to participate, it will be a session similar to this in terms of participation, and it will be, well, I can promise that it will be fun. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Juanma, thank you, the whole team. I think this is why we were born, and I'd like to thank the whole team. This is really what we had in mind. So I'm looking forward to next week when we have digested a bit of the ideas, and I'm sure we'll come stronger. So thank you very much, Soher. Thank you, the team. Thank you, everybody. Today, it's a great way to finish the day with this kind of calls. So take care. Thank you, Juanma.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Soher, and we keep pushing.
Yeah. Bye. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johan.